Um, my name is Patricia Gilligan, and I live in the suburb of Leichhardt in the city of Sydney. That is the capital city of the country of Australia. I'm going to completely go away from what I normally would be talking about and do something which is more sensible, but also if I wasn't in a very controlled environment where basically the entire suburb and the entire inner west section of Sydney, which makes up many 100,000 people, almost exclusively combine to control my life and what's around me. The reason for this is because these beings in human form are or must be different to myself, and maybe I'm guessing that there would be a couple of other more natural kind of human beings, shall we say, in this area. So you're looking at I don't know the numbers because I am not able to access a normal, natural human being, which is, I'm not saying that I haven't encountered them, but when you fleetingly speak to someone, like supposing you said hello to someone and you just said nice day, you can't tell the difference between a normal, natural human being and these artificial or very controlling, very restrictive, very oppressive android beings. You can't tell the difference because they imitate life very well. But either way, I'm going to pretend that I'm in a normal world for just the duration of while I'm recording here. And I'm going to do a movie review. It is now 3 o'clock in the morning, so I won't be disturbed by the android reality around me. Or, if you want to look at it another way, if you don't want to accept that I'm saying these beings are totally different human beings, they're a different species, a different kind of, a totally different species, different denomination of being altogether. They no doubt have a different denomination. Many of them openly will actually worship a different denomination. In other words, they will, another way of looking at it is, as I've been told, if you use and worship even technology to combine with other beings, whether they be of similar type or not, you're using that technology to combine with others in order to suppress others or to control others. But either way, you're a technical being in your life because that technology is making you behave a certain way. But either way, I've lost track here, because that's the reality, is the technology is part of these beings' is the word for that would be, it's part of their being, but it's also part of their way of living. It's also part of their control of the limited number of human beings in this inner west section of the city of Sydney. Because I'm guessing that there would probably be, there could be anywhere between 10 and 100 untechnical human beings, or those that are living normally or trying to live normally, and they're not using technology to communicate with other people at a community level, to where you're combining with other people to surround and suppress certain other people that you must see somehow as different, or something that is an obstacle. You're trying to limit that person's life, because that's what I experience every day. The minute the sun comes up here, in another 2 hours, and particularly once the sun comes up and they can pretend to be doing activities that they use for suppression. They can bring more vehicles onto the road. They can bring the trucks, the semi-trailers, the buses. Well, the buses start at 4:30 here anyway, so their bus patrol system that literally surrounds me every day, where the bus depot, the actual bus depot, is nothing but an army depot, and it's just on the corner of this small dead-end street where I am. But anyway, that's just me I'm going to do a movie review, okay? I must concentrate here and do the movie review. My voice is clear. I'm confident of doing this well. I've only just found this movie and I've never seen it before, even though I am very familiar with the actors and the period of time. I'm surprised that I have not been able to watch this movie before, but I just haven't. And I actually was hoping to watch it about 6 months ago. I actually found it and thought I shall watch this movie, but there was none on the YouTube. You had to go on to a separate thing and pay for it, and I don't know how to do that, so unfortunately. But now, just over the last week, this movie came up for me, and I've watched it twice, which I should really watch it a lot, because if you're going to do a movie review, you need to know every scene and stuff. But I'm just going to use it, even though I watched it purely for entertainment value, and before the artificial spiritual matrix exposed itself to me. In other words, to where I became aware, because they openly patrolled and tried to control my life. When I say try to, they actually do. Because I rarely go out of the suburb, I've lost incentive to do anything. Because if you're continually patrolled and surrounded, where vehicles are pulling right in front of you and people are always coming into your line of sight, and to where they're always making a very intrusive and uncomfortable sight and sound show for you. They're always making loud negative noises of usually a mechanical nature, which is extremely mentally disturbing. And then if they can't do that, they flash the light's in your eyes. Wherever you look, doesn't matter, wherever you look on the street, you will look and you will see a car with its lights on, particularly of a night time. In the daytime, they use the sound much more. But they're always continually stalking you with their vehicles and with their civilians. They make it more obvious at times, but you are never left alone. You've always got them around you. It never looks as though it's abnormal. If you're walking down the street, there'll be one on one side of the pavement, one on the other side of the road. If you decide that you don't want to lose your energy by crossing the path of the one that's coming up in front of you, and you decide to cross the road, they will have one coming right into your path, just perfectly timed on the other side of the road. They will always show their patrolling nature by coming into your line of sight or into your path. They will use the vehicles either pulling in and out in front of you, stopping in front of you, slowing up in front of you, or sometimes they will speed up. If they've got a vast amount of traffic, they will make it fast and very loud. And they will always make a sound as every large vehicle goes past you. So it's like being in this sight and sound, you could say like sight and sound war on your senses. That's what it is. It's a sight and sound war on your senses as they go past you and wherever you look. So basically they take over your reality because your reality is sight and sound. But this particular movie is, I find it, you know, in the past I would just have found it an entertaining kind of spoof on, you know, on like witchcraft, for instance, which no one believes in, and I certainly wouldn't have believed in it. And even now, I see the patrolling and the artificial ones around me as a form of witchcraft, even though it's perfectly practical magic, as another movie's called, but essentially it's practical, it's real. It's just that they're using real things, they're using the reality and using it as a form of magic on my sight and sound. So they're basically messing with my mind, messing with my reality, and they are my reality because if you have everyone around you stalking and patrolling you as part of a community patrol force, and you might say, well, why are they doing that? Well, the reason is, I guess, is because they must see you as different to them. And that difference is that you're not going to fit in with them. And they don't like it. They're forcing you to fit in with them. They're forcing you to be part of their patrol control system because they're taking over my mind and my senses. So although they may not even interact with me, they're forcing me into their world. So if I choose to ignore them and cross onto the other side of the road when a stalker is coming up in front of me, if I cross onto the other side of the road and another one comes right into my path, that's just like saying you can't get away from us. We will control your reality. We will take over your senses. Your only hope is if you can ignore it. But that means ignoring my reality. That means I don't, everything that's around me. But you can't ignore what's around you. That would make me as out of touch as what I think they are. Because they want me in their artificial world. They want me to be consumed by their control system. They want me to be consumed by their control of you, because they are a different being. This movie, even as light-hearted, and it's like a not meant to be taken as real, probably, and in fact it's almost like a romance. Well, it is a romance, but you know, the little love story, you know, but bringing the witchcraft into the love story. But I'm very sorry, I've lost my train of thought there, because you see, I'm trying to do a movie review, but I'm still incorporating it as something that I see around me. Because I'm saying that in this particular movie, you have, and I'll just show the title of the movie, because the title of the movie is, there it is. There's the title of the movie. There's the year of the movie. And as you can see, it hasn't been very long on the internet there for me to look at. 8 days ago that was downloaded, but I only saw it even less than that, because I obviously wasn't searching for it. It just came up, lucky for me, because I was hoping to watch it about 6 months ago, but couldn't, they didn't have it on the YouTube. In fact, they only had, like, you know, bits and pieces sort of thing, and you can't watch a movie. But either way, wasting time here. Got to keep going before the sun comes up and before I lose my energy. I sound as though I'm clear and full of energy, but in reality, I was physically attacked by their negative energy on the street. You know, over a week ago now, where I am lucky to be standing, and even lucky to be holding the mobile, because I had injuries from literally being pushed over on the street. But at any rate, in this movie, this is why I say that these beings use a form of witchcraft. They use their ability, like when I fell over, like I was literally totally disorientated. It was 40 degrees, and I've got all these stalking cars coming past me, making noises, and I was exhausted, and I was still a few blocks from here, and I could hardly walk straight. And I was mentally disturbed, because I'm like, you know, to realise that every person walking past you, every vehicle going past you, and they're making their presence felt too. It's very disorientated. You can hardly even walk straight. You can't even concentrate. You feel as though you're in some sort of, yeah, well, it's mind control, but it's mind disturbance. And it is their form of witchcraft. They probably do believe in a lot of things, and they use their psychology of understanding that no one likes to be stalked. They know that if you can ignore a few stalkers, if they make it so that it's, you know, like 100,000 people and 1 million cars going past you, because literally if you're out on that road and you're out there for even a half an hour, you are looking at, you know, when they're coming bumper to bumper, thickly past, you are looking at 1 million cars. These are a million vehicles that are actually against one human being for no other reason other than that they don't like that you're a different human being to them in some way. And I've already made comments about this. But let's just go back to this movie. See, bell, book and candle means that, see, in this movie you have like this lovely lady here that is a witch. And this gentleman here is a normal man. By that I mean that because in this particular movie, this is the fun, even though it's taken as fun, in this movie, a normal man, a witch, and the witch has many other friends and is aware that this is like in the city of New York, aware that there is a very large number of witches and what they said was warlocks, which means male witches. But the thing with this movie is that they say that like see, the normal man, he's about to get married, this man. This is I'm going into the movie review now, okay? But related as potentially real, but maybe allowing for the reality that you're looking at an android being and a relatively natural, limited, real human being. But that's just my perception, perception of the reality now, because you have to acknowledge that there is a difference between the kind of psychopathic nature or the witch nature of the androids and the human being. Of course, this is a movie, so they are all divine androgyne beings. These are all your demigods of the earth, past, present and future. All actors are the demigods of the earth. They serve the god of earth. That being is the same, is made the same as them. They're all, of course I don't know this in any true reality. I see the demigods, so I know what they are. But I've never encountered Lucifer, so I don't know what that being looks like. But I assume that its disciples and its demigods that it uses to influence and control humanity must be of the same nature and also made similarly. Just as human beings, when they reproduce, if you're a natural human being, which there are not very many in my own reality, or in the area where when I say my own reality, I simply mean in the area where I get round, where I live. You know, I don't see very many real human beings or natural, normal human beings. They're not normal, they're psychopathic, they're not natural, they're android beings, and they're duality beings, and they're psychopathic, they're narcissistic, they're all these terminologies that are now fashionable. They are paranoid, that's why they stalk and watch you continuously. 3 o'clock in the morning, probably nearly 4 now, better get going with this movie review. And I've only got a few hours before their patrol system, will take over my sight and my sound and my reality. And I better, I'm sounding very good here, so I'm going to keep going. I'm sounding confident, and this movie appeals to me because I kind of just like the particular time and the idea, and I think and I like the imageries of it, but it is still, it's a movie review, but let me see, I must concentrate here. Get back to the movie review, Patricia Gilligan, get back to the movie review. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to do it as a movie review. I'm going to tell you the story of the movie as I remember it. Okay. This is a normal man. He's about to get married. He's about to get married. He's in love. He's going to get married. They're going to elope. This is the woman that lives next door to him, or very close by to him in the same apartment or whatever, apartment block. She doesn't know him, but she's seen him. She sees him coming and going. She's a witch. And at the start of the movie, she's got her cat. She's got her little cat, and she says to her cat, I'm so bored, I'm so bored, I'd like to meet a man and, have a bit of fun with him, sort of thing. In other words, she wants to, and she sees this man, and she set her mind on trying to seduce him, which is sometimes what the artificial ones do, but it's also what witches do, and it's the same thing, because she actually is a self-confessed witch, and even all her friends are also all witches. She doesn't usually associate as much with the real human beings, not unless they feel like it. But they try to manipulate the reality of real human beings, which is exactly what happens with the androids. They're all one and the same, really, but for this movie, I'm doing a movie review, so please someone tell me to stop talking about my reality around me, because as you can see, they've got the mind control. I can't even do a simple little movie review of this, rather entertaining movie, and I have to try to be impressive here. But so she's bored, but also she's bored, and so she wants to have a little relationship with this man, but then she finds out straight away that he's married, and that he's going to get married the next day, so she can't have a relationship with him. Of course, what is very interesting in this movie is that she will tell you that witches cannot fall in love. So she wants him, as she says, but she wants to have a relationship with him, a bit of fun. But witches cannot fall in love. He's a normal man, he can fall in love. In fact, he thinks he's in love with the woman that he's going to marry. But she knows that he's going to get married, and he thinks he's in love, I guess, if he's going to get married to this other woman. So, this, I'm gonna have to use the actress's name because I can't remember her name in the movie. I should have checked it before I turned the mobile on. But Kim here is going to, Kim the witch is going to put a spell on James the man to make him not leave her and want to have a relationship with her and fall in love with her and forget about getting married to the woman he's going to get married to and have a relationship with her for a while. It's not serious because witches cannot fall in love. They can have wants and they can interact with humans, but they can't. In fact, that's the romance of this little movie here, is that she at some point will fall in love with James, the real man. But she's like, oh, you know that it's only an old wives' tale. It's not true that witches can ever fall in love. And usually it never happens because they like being witches, and usually that just doesn't happen. But this is a movie, this is Hollywood, so of course Kim is going to, at some point, actually make him fall in love with her by putting a spell on him, which I'm going to show the fun scene where she does that, and he is going to fall in love with her and forget about the next day running off and marrying the woman that he's known for years and years. Actually, as the movie goes, it's a wise choice because he is more suited to even the witch. But no, it's still not right. But she at some point in this story will fall in love with him, and then that means that she's no longer a witch. So she in this movie, then she can no longer cast spells and have all these powers. See, I guess the trade-off is that in this reality, if you're going to use technology or you're going to be a witch and have special powers to where you can cast spells on someone to change their mind, they do cast spells too. They seduce human beings. The android, psychopathic, narcissistic, paranoid, personality disordered, androgyne beings do cast spells on human beings. They seduce you with your own wants, needs and desires, and you become all you want them to be, or they become what you want, and in some respects they become an idealized version of yourself, what you want in someone else, or what you imagine someone is. It's like that. We've been told this, and if you've ever encountered these beings, and if you haven't, you are one lucky person, because not encountering them is near impossible. In fact, from the day you're born, you are born into not just their reality, but you are usually born with everyone around you, or most around you. If you're a human being, you will usually be surrounded by these beings, and that will be everyone and anyone. You'll be, as my father used to say, looking for love is like finding a needle in a haystack. And he used to say it doesn't even exist. That's because they know that it's not going to exist for you, because you're never going to encounter a real human being. But at any rate, that's the real human being, that's the witch. The witch does fall in love with the real man, and then she loses her powers later on in the story. But I'm just going to show this. Let me see. I'm going to show this movie. I'm going to show the scene where, this is just the beginning of the scene here, where she is hearing him say that he is going to get married. So because in her mind she had it planned that she wanted to just have a little liaison with him, because she was bored. She says to her cat at the beginning of this film, unfortunately the beginning is back here, but I'm starting at where she finally gets to meet him, because like she has to get him to come into her apartment to actually speak to him, because she doesn't really even know him. She just sees him coming and going into the building, and she set her mind on it. She's like, says to her cat, I'm so bored, I'd just like to meet someone. Because although these witches enjoy casting spells and you know, the power that they're a different being, you see. They're in human form, but they don't experience human positive emotions in a way. Well, in this movie it doesn't look like that, because the witches and warlocks, as they're called in this, don't actually seem to be anywhere near as psychopathic or negative as the real ones actually are in reality. But even so, they still do things that they think are funny, which are really negative for human beings. Like if they don't like you, or they think you've somehow annoyed them, they will use their power to set the elements in motion against you. Just as I was thrown onto the asphalt, a week and a half ago by these beings. They use a whole lot of things to combine to affect you, usually in a negative way. They don't usually, you could say, well, see, she actually knows that it was wrong or naughty of her to put a spell on him to make him fall in love with her. Even though, as this movie will unfold, of course, Kim and James were meant to be, you see, so you could look at it that way, because they actually do have an attraction, because it's a Hollywood movie. But and he actually is better off with the witch. But of course he finds out at some point that she is a witch, and that she has deliberately seduced him, and the movie shows this, which is interesting. But let me see if I can just, because I don't want to be up for copyright of the movie either, so I have to, just hold on, I'll just see. Just try to pick out the best scenes, if I can. I better turn the sound down at this point, because there's no sound in the scene. See, so he's about to leave the apartment and get married to another woman. He's about to leave the apartment and he's going to get married to another woman the next day. And so she's going to... evidently, as a witch, she uses her cat to cast spells. Different witches and warlocks use different methods. The movie doesn't explain this in detail, and I certainly don't have any knowledge of it. But even though I personally think that human thought creates reality combined with thinking and feeling, and these androids and the witches and warlocks control my feeling and my emotion by keeping me in a negative frame of mind. That's what the patrolling and the total mind control of my senses is all about. Because if I wasn't surrounded by this control system of my senses by all the beings around me, I would be happier. And that is a thinking and feeling that means that I can affect the reality in a positive way, which is the opposite to the android beings, because they don't have any, like the witches, they cannot fall in love. They do not experience happy, positive emotions, or at least they are very limited in any sort of positive emotions. They're about control. They forfeit their humanity, as Kim has done in this movie, to be a witch or to be a warlock if you're a man. They forfeit that in order for the control and power of using spells and witchcraft and technology to control real human beings, and therefore the reality, because only human thought can make a positive reality. And they like a dark reality, as you can imagine. They don't like it too light. They pretend, of course, to have a light reality. They indulge in all the light human things, but they don't actually get a lot of satisfaction out of it. Because if they can't fall in love, like if Kim can't fall in love, she just wants to have a bit of fun with James. She just wants to have a bit of fun with James. So she's casting the spell on him to make him fall in love with her, but she can never fall in love with him. In fact, when he asks her after he's fallen in love with her through her casting a spell on him, he actually says, "Oh, couldn't we stay together forever? Like, like, you love me, don't you?" type of thing. And she's like, well, nothing lasts forever. No, because she knows that she hasn't fallen in love with him, but she is enjoying the fun of seducing him and interacting with him and making love, but not being in love. So she's enjoying all the romance and all that sort of thing, because all that's different. The androids are very big on the lead up to love. They like the game. To them, everything is like a game, a sport. Just like when they patrol and try to control my emotions and my feeling, and therefore my thinking, that's their game. They're feeding off my negative emotions. That fuels them, gives them energy, makes them feel powerful. And it does make them powerful, because they are controlling my emotions and my thinking, so therefore they are controlling my reality. And if human thought creates reality, combined with thinking and feeling, how you feel is what the reality you will create for yourself. And even if you don't want to take it in a more spiritual way, or in a more esoteric way, as they say, or whatever word you want to use, religious, doesn't matter. How I think about my reality. If I'm depressed and I see everything around me as negative because people are stalking and patrolling me, then that is my reality, because that's how I'm thinking and feeling. That's how it wouldn't matter if, like I say, when the sun's out and it's a lovely day, if I'm surrounded by a stalking patrol system, if every being around me, every apparent human being around me is following me and suppressing me, making me feel uncomfortable, to where I fall over and injure myself and could have ended up in the hospital, and those beings even come past you and say you'll be in the hospital before Christmas, because Christmas is just around the corner. They try, and I don't know why they didn't even succeed. But at any rate, I've diverged. I'm supposed to be doing a movie review. Patricia Gilligan, please get back on track. You've got to pretend to be an expert movie reviewer of a 1958 film about, witches in New York. This movie just makes the point that yes, there are witches and warlocks, and that they are in vast numbers in New York, because it actually says this, which I will show that. But either way, I'm just going to show what I think is, which is the most, the main scene in the movie, where she starts off the entire story of she wants her fantasy. She's bored. She says to her cat at the beginning of this movie, I'm bored, Putty Cat. I think I want to cast a spell on that man that I see coming into the building every day. I want to seduce him and make him fall in love with me. I want to have a little fling with him. So that's what it is. And so he's about to leave the apartment and go and marry his wife. He's about